Playbook also. This is called our mechanics tape. Back in the day, when we refed, we just went out and did what we wanted to do. Just refed. A guy by the name of Darryl Garrettson came up with a system. It was originally a two-man system, and then I think we are now into our 30th year of the three-man system, which is this. I was lucky enough to be with him when he formulated it. The guy was a genius. He said I could be involved with him, just never say a word. He spoke and we just listened. But it was awesome to be in the ground floor of it. So what has transpired through the years is Darryl left as a boss, and we had discipline on the court when he was the boss. It was awesome. All three people worked together. It was trust, it was teamwork, just like a team. But when he left, we've had like 7 bosses since him. It got fractured and fragmented because people would come in and they would say, I don't like this, or a play would happen that would the Sixers would lose or New York would lose, and they would change the mechanics, and it got fractured. Through the years, people were doing what they wanted to do. So then 3 years ago, Mark Wunderlich, who's a Philly guy, was an NBA referee for 20-some years, put the NBA has a lot of money now. So they sat down and they did this tape. This is 3 years old. And this shows everything. I'm not going to bore you with this, but it shows everything that referees do on the court. Just going to show you a little bit of it and give you a little flavor of what the referees are trying to accomplish when they're on the court. They're not, referees just don't go out and blow the whistle for the sake of blowing the whistle. Or they blow a call because they don't like this player, or they don't like this team, or the superstar this and the superstar that. That is all BS. Referees in the NBA are full-time employees that work for the league and that are rated, and they go over. There are 20 full-time people that do stats on NBA referees. So if the Oklahoma City Thunder call the NBA office and say, this player's getting screwed, our team's getting screwed, they have every stat at their disposal that will say what happened, where do you want to know, where was the foul? They'll show it to you, they'll give you film and play after play. Okay, so all that stuff that you hear in the press, the radio, the TV, it's all BS. It's all BS. All the referees are trying to do is get plays right. That's all they are. They're paid by the league. They're not paid by teams. They're not walking into the arena with a whistle on, walking out on the court. They're walking in a suit and tie. They have a room for them. They go in, they get changed, they do the game, they go back to the hotel, they watch the tape. It is a full-time job that referees do in the NBA. It's a major deal. So this is just a little tiny flavor. I can't put the sound on, so I'm going to try to verbalize it as I go. So bear with me. So right here, what we have is 3 referees. I have a laser. This referee on the baseline is the lead. Referee at the trail, that's the trail. Referee here, is the slot. The slot is always free throw line extended. All right, I'm going to ask you a question. Why are there 2 referees on this side of the floor? Thank you very much. That's where the ball is. So that's where the action is. Now, this guy right here is looking at the ball. This guy right here is looking off the ball. Everybody has a job. This guy here, looking off the ball. This guy has from there down. This guy has from here up. This guy all in this area. Right? There has to be a playbook. We can't have all 3 referees looking at the ball because somebody's going to take somebody's head off. That's what refereeing is. It's that. Say right here, something happens. this guy right here, all the NBA has to do is say, that's your fault, bro. It's in the manual. That's your fault, bro. That's your responsibility. Got me? Very, very simple. Very, very simple. But that's it in a nutshell. It's a system that we work, and they can find out in 3 seconds whose problem it was. If there's a problem right here, this particular referee misses this. If LeBron comes out, commits a foul, that's the trail's responsibility. He now gets that team call. He'll get what's called non-correct. It's called an NCO, non-call incorrect. Right? If he calls something and it's not a foul, it would be an IC, an incorrect call. These are all documented, and my job now is, after I retired, I refereed for 39 years. My job now is, the Sixers play on Wednesday. Let's use them as an example. So they're playing in Washington. On Thursday, I may get a email, and it said, Joe, there was 15 errors in this game. A lot of errors, all right? They send you the plays. They have every play. They don't just say, they take a shot at it and say there's 15 errors. Those reviewers that are sitting there watching those games say there's 15 errors. My job, because I am the expert, so-called expert, okay, some people think that I'm a moron, but I now have to scrub that and go through that, right? Normally, you get it down to about 7 or 8. If you have a night that's 7 or 8, in 48 minutes, 3 guys, it's a hell of a night. It's a hell of a night. 15 hours, that's a bad night. It's a bad night. If I had 15 hours in a game, sayonara. I'm going to go work at Buffalo Wild Wings. I'm done. So you got a feel, got a flavor of what this is about? Okay. Any questions? Has to be some questions. Done? Please.
Who are you talking to those flops?
Very good. I'm going to keep it real.
That's what we want.
Who do you think caused flopping? Us. The refs. The players are smart. Flop. Bang. Referee falls for it. What happens? He's going to do it again. All right, now let's go back to the history of flopping. You can YouTube right now. 1960s, or maybe early 70s, Red Auerbach. Anybody in this room know? Mendy Rudolph, anybody know? All right, Mendy was the king of officials back in the day in the Hall of Fame. Red Auerbach, supposedly the all-time leading coach in the history of basketball. Right? They have a tape. It's on TV about flopping. Right? And everybody was in agreement that when the referee thought that the player flopped, the referee would go like this. Block. That cleaned that up, didn't it? Nobody did it. Nobody flopped because the referee was told just to call a block. So here's what transpires. You know what all this, the tape, the reviewers, all this scrutiny, all this stuff, you got to referee these games by the rule book. So now they come into the locker room. Joe Crawford's refereeing a game, I'll never forget it. It's in Sacramento. Lottie Divac, who's now the GM of Sacramento, falls down and I go like this. Block. Right? My boss comes in and says, Joe, why'd you call the block? He flopped. He said to me, you can't do that anymore. Why? He says, you have to call it by the rule book. Did you know that it was a block? I said, no. He says, you got to call what you see. That's what happens to flopping. So referees are fooled by somebody's move, correct? There's offensive flopping. The guy's going to the basket. Right? Right? You don't, you feel me here? So here's what happens now. Referees don't call anything unless they know. It's called do not guess. It's in our manual, our written manual, our Bible. It's a manual, the NBA manual. It says do not guess about 16 times. If you don't know how that player got to the floor, do not guess. You got me? That's what a referee is instructed. But we caused flopping. Now, in this climate today, what they do is it goes back to the people in New York and they fine the people for flopping. 5,000, 10,000, I don't even know what it is. Referees could care less about that kind of stuff. Fines, tax, what it costs. Nobody cares. Referees could care less what it is. So I'm going to show you something I think it would be pretty interesting. This just went to the referees this morning. All right? So you guys are in on the ground floor here. I only do this for Chelsea. This is 2 minutes of a game. You know that, let me get over here because I gotta tell you. I get very angry at everybody saying that referees, NBA referees don't call travel. It makes me want to vomit, okay? It makes me sick. So the reason that we do call travel, the reason that travels have been accepted is because the referees on your level don't call them correctly. They're fooled by the kid's move. Remember what I said before about do not guess? That's what we do. We do not guess. But we've changed up our little mechanic. So when we referee, in the old days up until today, up until this video has gone out to the guys, this is how we ref. If it's ref, offensive player, defensive player, we ref the defender. You got me here? So you would be more apt to miss the travels. You got me here? So now what we've done is we've tweaked it. We now referee this. Find the feet, find the pivot foot, offensive player puts the ball to the ground, we go to the defender. There has to be a way when you're refereeing. You just can't go out and just blow the whistle. You can't. You have to have a reason for blowing the whistle, and there has to be a mechanic. Who are you looking at? And at our level in the NBA, which is a very, very sophisticated referee, believe me when I tell you this, we miss plays, we make mistakes, but it is the highest level of officiating. It is at the highest level. There is no other level that is higher than the NBA. So we tweaked it. We tweaked this. Now, in the exhibition season, one game there was 10 travels. So you can see what's happening. So our players are getting it.
Long game.
Because they get it. They get it. Our players are very, very bright. Very bright. They catch it. They catch it. So what we came up with this is we're going to give you a little test. Every time they catch the ball here, we have it down here what the pivot foot is. Possession. See what I'm saying? You're going to have to recognize, the referee's got to get his eyes acclimated. What foot? Find the feet. What's the pivot foot? Find the feet. What's the pivot foot? Find the feet. What's the pivot foot? Go ahead. Come on. Which one?
Left.
Right or left?
Left.
Right or left?
Right.
That's awesome. See, neither one.
It's neither one. He hasn't chosen yet.
Let's go. Let's go. There you go.
It was leading up to that.
See what I'm saying here? The rule, I argue with, we have a rules guy. His name's Joe Borgia. Awesome guy. Awesome guy. When you read the rule book you go over the travel rule. Very difficult. Very, very difficult. A smart coach, once told, I learned an awful lot from coaches, I really do, is that most right-handed people, left-handed, right? Left-handed, right? Pivot. Right? So, I have to tell you a story. Isaiah Thomas, the real Isaiah Thomas from Detroit. I always have to say that because he's one of my favorite men of all time. He's defending. He's defending. He thinks the guy walks, got a timeout. Isaiah walks up to me and says, Joe, you walked. And I said, I don't know. He said to me, he says, which one was his pivot foot? I said, I don't know. I didn't know. Guess what he said? I knew. He knew. See what I'm saying here? The players know because they defend them accordingly. The guys at our level, they're awesome. They know everything. Our guys, they're so bright. They really know the game inside and out. And that really shook me up. It shook me up because I said, I'm a little inadequate here with these travels, And I just heightened my awareness. It made me a much better referee. A guy like that would bring it to my attention. And I said, oh, that's awesome. Because I did not know. I did not know what his pivot foot was. And now, as the years have gone on, I was not real good at travels, to be real honest with you. I really wasn't. But now this little tweak in the mechanics is really good for our referees today. Really good. Because it'll be easier for them to call it. And I think our players are so bright that they'll be able to adapt to it. I think we have 2 minutes of this. It's pretty cool. Northeast left. Anybody else want to take a shot? Is his left his pivot or his right? All right, let's go. There you go. Very good. Awesome. So we picked it up. It was good. So you honed in on it, which was great. That's what the ref has to do. That's exactly what the ref has to do. So if I catch the ball and 2 feet hit the ground, what? No pivot. Right? First foot, pivot. Let's try it again. The referees are going to go goofy when they get this today. What we call it, there's no longer the point of emphasis. Very good. It's called the point of education.
I can tell from the preseason days.
Very good. And you're right with it. No, really, because that's what happens. The referees are always behind the teams. Because the teams and the players are what? They're finding ways out to get over on the rules.
Right.
See? We're behind it, so we're watching tape. Why do we see that? We're seeing this. I'll go after this one thing. There's your guy.
Slick back.
There's your slick back. All right. Can you see it? Sorry, there you go. Which one? Right. There you go. Awesome. That was awesome. Great. Yeah, look at all the referees foul. Oh, listen to that. He almost foul.
Is that a flop or a foul?
Probably shot to the throat.
See, that's a good question, though. Is that a flop or a foul? That's a good question.
That's the same when we yell into the TV when we see it.
Yeah, we against your team. That's the wonderful thing about being a fan. See, the referee could care less. All the referee's doing is going like this. Man, I can't wait till this game's over. I'm going to go get myself a burger. That's what the referee's thinking. They're trying to get the plays right for 48 minutes and let me get out of Dodge and go get something to eat. Go ahead.
Realistically, I mean, I'm gonna compare it to football, just for a second.
Sure.
Refs in football, and well, you play football, you know, as an offensive lineman, just use the example, you pretty much hold every time.
I don't know that.
They let, I mean, realistically, you can't stop a big 300-something pound, but that's
Well, you
beside the
can.
point.
You can if you want.
Yeah, you can, but they say for the most part, I'll rephrase it, that they,
Yeah.
holding goes on. Are there certain calls that happen in the NBA? Do you ever find yourself like, okay, that's like that's something that's unavoidable or percentage or
fouls.
something?
No, what we call them marginal plays.
Right.
It's not, you're judging legal versus illegal, and it's all in the rule book. So you're judging that type of contact as being marginal. So you wouldn't put air in the whistle. It has, if you judge it or deem it to be illegal, you put air in the whistle or you're a cheat. And then it's my job as one of the supervisors to say, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? So there isn't that. You'll hear a lot of broadcasters, right, say, oh, they're not going to call that play at this time of the game. BS. They're going to call this at this time of the game. Yeah, we are. It's supposed to be called the same from the 1st to the 48th. Pure and simple. Because you, the coaches, you demand that. It's how you coach. It's how you coach. Now, if you lose, then you go, they don't call that at the end of the game. Yes, they do. If you were the team that won, you went, yeah, I wanted to call. Yeah, I wanted to call. So you'd have no confusion if you do it from 1 to 48. That's our model. There's no confusion if you call the plays the same from the 1st to the 48th. There's no confusion. I am not telling you that back in the day, that didn't happen. I'm not telling you that. Because there was a different era. There was different things expected. I'm not telling you. Okay? I would never do that because here's what has really gotten into our game that we're doing a better job. Now these are going to be 2 screens. You tell me, because I just had to send it in, you tell me whether you believe that it's illegal or legal. What we got over here? Illegal. What we got back here? You like legal, right? Over here? All right, let's do it. It's not going to be illegal. Now, how's it taught?
Right.
Correct? Illegal? Come on, illegal? No, it's not illegal until what? It actually happened. No. Unless the defender comes into it. Legal? Stand here on the court like this. I can stand here like this. But if the defender runs into me like this, that's illegal. You got me? So this particular play on the screen, I believe that it is, yes, it's illegal. Now, why are illegal screens? Why is everybody, come on, you guys are bright people. Why are screens being emphasized so much in the NBA now? Bingo! Everybody said?
Oh, we don't say, absolutely.
Yes, okay. So the legality of the screen is very important. Very important, because our players, again, are so good that all they need is this much. That shot's off. That shot is off. Our guys are so good that shot's going in. Yes,
So with that information we just heard, obviously, this is, point of emphasis or whatever you call it, I forgot. And this being another, I think I'm seeing again this year in the preseason that the screens are being called a little bit more illegal than they were before. Is it that they're trying to level the playing field now?
Oh, no.
So
Again, go back to my first statement. The referees are always catching up.
Okay.
That's nothing about leveling it. How do I give you to equate it? All right, I'm giving the clinic last week. Each team before the season starts gets a referee clinic. So I gave the Brooklyn Nets their clinic last week. I was up in Brooklyn, give the coaches and the players the clinic. I'm leaving the clinic. Now I have to go where I have to go. The GM, Sean Marks, and the assistant GM is a guy that you guys might remember, Trajan Langdon, played a dude. Well, Trajan is the assistant GM. So they stopped and we start talking. We start talking about everything. And we're out on the court and we're doing exactly what we're doing right now. Exactly what we're doing here. It's awesome. Just what we're doing, we were doing together with those guys. Trajan says to me, Joe, what are they doing about the push screens? And the day before that, we were in a meeting with all these reviewers that review the refs, those 20 people, and we asked them, are there any types of plays that we're missing that are trending, that are now trending, that the league is getting, teams are doing it, we're not calling, because we want to stay one step ahead of it. Guess what it was? Push screens. So Trajan said the same thing. So what I did, I called my boss, said, listen, Trajan just asked this. We went through the archives. We got like 8 or 9 plays. So here's what's happening. I'm not a basketball player or coach. I'm a ref. I don't teach screens. I teach how to look at the screen as a ref, or the legality of the screen, but I don't teach a player how to screen. I don't know. But here's what they broke it down for me. They said that the screener, you see how all our screeners come from down low and come out? They're coming out, and some coaches want them to screen and roll to the basket as quickly as possible. So they'll come, 2 hands, push, roll. So they're pushing this defender, they get that advantage, right? And now they get momentum to now roll to the basket. That's the way it's explained to me. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a coach. I don't profess to be. I'm a ref. So I got to. Now what we did is we sent 8 or 9 of those push screens to our refs and said, hey, this is illegal. That's all we care about. We don't care about leveling the playing field, all this stuff. That's not what we do. All we do is call plays. That's all we do. Legal, illegal. The paranoia, and it's paranoia of coaches, teams, players, and it's getting better in our league now because of education. We're educating one another. I think the teams have finally realized, hey, these guys are just out there doing their jobs.